Welcome to A&M Reviews. I'm Skybear, and I'm here with my buddy Sal. Sal, what's up, Sal?
Not much.
Alright, and today we're going to be talking about Pi, right?
Yes, we are.
Alright, Darren Aronofsky's very first film, which is about a paranoid mathematician who searches for a key number that will unlock the universal patterns found in nature. So, Sal, what did you think about this movie?
First of all, let's just warn everybody. We're going to talk about this movie and spoil it. There's a few theories we're going to shoot out there. Necessarily, they don't have to be true, but basically, that's what we saw. I'm going to start off by saying, okay, I gave it a solid 8 out of 10.
Okay, I gave it a 5 out of 10.
Okay. I respect that. And one of the reasons I respect it is because this movie is really hard to understand and follow. It's none like any other movie you've seen. First of all, it's in black and white, but that's actually on my pro list. Really good black and white movies. Because normally you see other black and white movies that they're not true black and white. They might be kind of gray color, but this one is really well done, black and white. Reminds me of Eraserhead, kind of the art form, that you recorded with.
Wait, it reminds you of Eraserhead?
It does.
I completely disagree, Sal.
No, but I mean, just the way it's shot.
Looks nothing like Eraserhead. You are so wrong.
The way it was shot with the black and white, that's what it's reminding me of. I'm not talking about the story.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the way it was shot. That's reminds me of the Eraserhead. And also, it's one of the pure black and white films that I've seen. Knowing that I'm not really a movie buff about behind the scenes, how you film and everything, but this one actually made me see it like, yes, I can see that's black and that is white. There's no gray color, which we'll touch upon this in a theory later on. So with that said, that's how I just saw it. It was...
Yeah, the black and white actually was on my con list.
Oh, was it?
Yes, I felt that he, I understand he was trying to go for that super high contrast look.
Yes.
But for me, I felt it was a little style over story in that regard. And, he definitely could have pushed it back, like, a little bit. Because, I mean, for some scenes, like, it is way clipped in the shadows. And I still understand, like, why he did it, but it's just not my thing.
Okay. Bringing that into the next thing, I like the way that he shot from the point of view behind the main character. That's one of the things that I liked. It was either focused on him or from his back point of view. You never saw it from any other character's point of view. So it just kept it pure, like, you're talking about the main character, we're going to follow him, and that's it. It never skewed away from like, oh, now let's go see it from this other character's point of view. I like that too.
Yeah.
For me, that kept it kind of simple in my sense. But like you said, some shots were a little, to you, were like erratic, basically didn't fit with the black and white, which for me kind of added more to his like mentality, like how he was not always there.
Oh yeah, like I totally caught that, and that's why like when he would get the headache, it would just be like super shaky, to try to put you into like his perspective.
And then, which brings me to my next point. The music, the score. I don't know, but I kind of liked it. It's not the norm.
I thought it was way out of place.
But that's the thing. This movie is his mind. We're inside his mind. So we're hearing what he's hearing. It irritates you to a certain point, but at the same time, you're like, now I feel what he's feeling. I'm irritated. Hear these high-pitched sounds. And then the more I see the movie, I'm like, this shit is annoying. So then I get it. I see how he's dealing with his headaches. This is what he feels. Instead of just hold his head and walk around and stumble, you're actually hearing some stuff that is not pleasant to hear. That's my take. Another sense that you're getting.
Didn't that also happen in Mother as well?
When she was
to Jennifer Lawrence's character?
Yes, it did. There's a little tidbit. Same music composer.
Oh, damn.
I mean, this guy, Darren loves this guy. That's why he's used him quite often. I think he also was in the Requiem of a Dream, but I'm not really sure. But he loves this guy. There's an article where he talks about it. So yeah, so I mean, for me, the element of the music kind of made me feel like I was more in the character's mind, and I'm like, I know what he's going through. I don't like the headaches because I don't like the sound. So it kind of made me feel more compassion for him. But at the same time, was it what he was really feeling, or was it something that he was creating in his mind? So everybody can see the movie different ways. What else can we talk about? Oh, the number of characters. There weren't that many characters in the movie.
No. I mean, like, it was, an indie movie, so, you can't hire too many people, but.
But yeah, I mean, you can always ask for extras, but at the same time, most of his films that I've noticed have a limited amount of characters.
Mm.
Except Mother, he had a lot of people and he gave them specific titles. But this one, since it was one of his first films, people can argue, like you said, it was an indie film, it was his first film, he couldn't hire many actors. But in my sense, I wanted to say that he kind of kept it simplistic, but yet to the point that there was enough characters to make a story flow.
Yeah, and I don't even think like that's a bad thing because I mean, it was just a character study movie, so you don't really need that many people anyway.
Yes, and then if you add too many characters, it takes away from your main objective, and then it just gets too complicated. That's my personal point. My cons, which is also a pro. People can take different points of view in this movie, come up with different ideas, different theories. That's a good thing for movies to have. So when you watch it, like me and you, we can talk about this movie for hours. But then other people don't like that because they want a perfect movie that tells you what to think, what to understand, and this is the only possible solution from the movie that you can take, and that's it.
Right.
So, I mean, I can see it from two different kind of points of view. It's the same thing that Mother is getting right now. Some people don't like it because it doesn't give them a straight path. This movie is the same way, but this one's complicated than Mother, in my point of view.
Oh, you think Pi is more complex than Mother?
Yes.
I think they're on the same plane actually.
Well, I mean, how many theories can you get out of Mother?
I feel like with that movie you have like first viewing broad strokes of what you think the movie's about, but then like either with time or with repeated viewings, you might uncover things that you didn't see before.
Okay. And same thing with this one. I mean, there's like possibly I have one theory, and I think you came up with one theory, and there's like a third one out there, and there's more out there that people have stumbled upon, which I guess this is where we're going to start talking about it. Unless you have anything else to add for pros and cons.
I enjoyed that it was an intriguing storyline, about just like this obsession with this number and then like the downfall that comes with the obsession from it. Because, like Darren Aronofsky did that again in Black Swan and The Wrestler.
Yeah.
And Whiplash did it as well. So, I enjoy movies like that. So.
There's other movies. I think the one with Jim Carrey where he's obsessed with that number 20
Oh, the number 23?
23. It's basically the same concept. People actually lose their minds by just thinking about one thing over and over, to the point where they go insane. They see it everywhere.
Yeah.
The same thing comes with people who come up with the strangest theories. They just go overboard and they see everything everywhere. They just go insane. In this movie, there has multiple meanings that you can interpret. I'm going to let you start with your theory that you want to start with.
Oh, how at the very end where he drills a hole in his head?
Yeah.
Yeah, I viewed it that he just like discovered the reality of how everything is in the world and in the universe and just couldn't handle it and he just broke. So I know there's people who drill holes in their heads to, get perfect highs all the time. I think he did that to himself, or at least tried to do that. And then in the end, that's why he behaves and acts differently. Although another way to look at it, I think, is that's purgatory now once he killed himself.
Yeah, because there's other, I mean, I read forums where there's theories that he's dead since the beginning. Like we only see like the first day of his life, and then when he picks up the book, that's why we see the scar already there.
Yeah,
because he's been drilling slowly, until he finally gets his courage to go all the way, and then he dies.
The Discovery that just came out on Netflix.
Yes.
Or recently came out. Not to spoil anything, even though we already said no spoilers. Spoilers abound. Beware. Do you mind if I spoil that, Sal?
Oh no, go for it.
Okay, so with the ending of the Discovery, it's basically the same thing that we just discussed. Because like that whole movie is about how they like people. Well, someone discovered like, oh, there is like some place after death, and then everyone started killing themselves. Although in the very end of that movie, it turns out that the way they perceive it is once you die, you can jump back to whatever period in your life, and most people choose like things that they could just do over again, and then you just get to start from there.
Oh, okay.
And then you just die, and then you just keep repeating.
Wow.
Until I guess like you achieve your perfect life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And this is, what's the name again? Discovery.
The Discovery, yeah.
It's on Netflix right now. So if you want to go watch that and you have Netflix, go watch it. I'm probably going to watch it today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else?
Or what do you think? What do you think, Sal?
I'm going to basically start off by telling you that a lot of people pointed out that pi, when it's written on the screen, it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he actually did that on purpose because, I mean, people go in thinking like, oh, this guy's smart. I mean, not Darren, but the character. This guy's smart. He knows pi and everything. But that gives you the first hint that in this theory that I'm going to talk about, he's not smart. He's mentally ill and he believes himself to be somebody important. So he brings himself to alternate universe that he lives in where he's a brilliant mathematician who's, knows pi, knows how to calculate numbers. Thus, why the little Asian girl goes up every day to his door and says, here, what about this? He's not getting the number correctly, but he thinks he is. With that, people will say, well, no. Well, he has the teacher, so he always goes to talk to him and play Go. They say he's a teacher. Well, technically, he says that he's a teacher, but he can also be an old person who's going crazy. The fact is that when they're playing Go, people have taken screenshots of the screen and said, well, that's not really complex plays. They seem like they're amateurs. And Go is a very complex game that if you're a complex player, like they're supposed to be, they would have a certain arranged chips of black and white. Which leads me to the other thing.
Yeah.
Did Darren just basically say, just put anything on the table?
I mean, that could have been, just to save time.
But at the same time, would he actually got the pi number wrong?
Who knows?
I mean, that's the thing. So with my theory, I'm going to continue. The old person, he's just a regular person that he goes talks to. And they're both mentally ill. So they talk and they basically feed on each other's delusion. Then he says, oh, well, you knew the number. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, I knew the number, but don't touch it. Don't talk about it kind of thing, So they keep feeding upon each other's delusion.
Yeah.
The person from Wall Street, some people have said maybe they're bill collectors who are trying to reach out to him, like, collect some money. And that's why he's trying to dodge them. Because she's always trying to set up a time and say, hey, does this time work for you? Everybody wanted to try to get money from you. They call you and try to be nice at first before they start getting angry and start harassing you. Later on, she starts harassing him, sends people over to his house and stuff like that. His neighbor, the next door neighbor, the Indian girl, she's nice. She's genuine worried about him. Not in the sense that, oh, he's my neighbor, I'm going to take care of him. No, it's like, oh, yeah, you know what? The guy's next door, he's mentally ill. I need to check up on him. So in that sense, he has a mental illness, which a lot of people don't know what he has, but they just agree that he's living in his own world. And he thinks he's making up a story for him, that he's a genius. At the end, where he drills through his head, he does get headaches. That's why he's medicating himself, because of insanity. He gets to the point where he drills through his head. At that point, he does harm to his head, which numbs him, which basically brings him into a stage where he's like, okay, I'm going to accept that I'm insane, take my medication. He goes to the park and the little girl finally says, what's this number times this? He gives her the answer and he's like, oh, I don't know. Then he accepts that he's like, I don't need to think of myself as a genius. And he finally accepts that he's just a normal person. And he's happy with it because he smiles. So that's that theory, which is not the best theory out there, but it's one of the ones that I could actually see. The other one is we're watching a computer. He's a new computer and he's trying to compute pi.
Yeah.
But there's always an error occurring when he's trying to compute it on his computer. It stops. The computer short circuits. He goes to try to see what it is the processor that burned out. There's ants on it, which symbolize computer bugs. So he starts killing them, right? But they always keep popping out. In a computer program, there's bugs. You never see them until it happens. Then you have to go and fix it. The little girl is a program herself. She's like a test run program. It's a benchmark program. When you're trying to run something, you have to make sure your computer is compatible and it can run a certain, program that's almost the same. So she's a running test every day. She comes in, basically says, is everything A-okay? What's this number times this number? He says it. Okay, everything computes. Keep going. Just checking up on him. It's like making sure he's not getting any viruses. That's why he needs to keep the bugs at bay. He needs to kill the bugs.
Huh. Okay. Yeah.
The old guy, his master, his teacher, he's just an older computer that he connects to sending his reports. He's the older version of him. Like there's older version computers. This supercomputer Next year can be outdated, so there's another supercomputer that's going to take its place. But they still need to talk to each other. It's like the internet. They talk amongst each other. Also, when the phone rings, it's the handshake of the internet.
So the old guy is Siri?
Or could be. Technically, you can see it as like an old IBM who's outdated, but just storing the information like a backup. That's why the phone is the server that's trying to connect to him. It keeps ringing and ringing and ringing. So he's just a computer program trying to find out what pi is, but he's almost about to get outdated, and then he gets the replacement part to upgrade himself to keep going. That's when the business people come and give him the supercomputer chip to keep him program running. Well, I mean, there's other theories. I mean, that's one of the theories that was kind of interesting to me because, I mean, once you go into computer language, it's all about the zeros and ones. The same thing with the film. It's all about the black and white. The game Go, it's about the black and white chips. You know, complex calculations. The game Go is basically really hard to play. That's what got me interested, and that's why I gave it an 8. The more I dive into it, and the same thing, I realized I'm obsessed to the point that I'm him. So in that point, I was like, dude, I feel like I'm him. I'm obsessed with this. I'm trying to find connections with everything in the movie to the point where I'm sitting there like, let me think about this again. And I'm sitting there with my notebook just writing notes. And I'm like, this is the same thing he was going through in the movie. This movie was interesting that it got me acting like the character.
Okay. And with that being said, check us out next time when we review Layer Cake, Matthew Vaughn's first movie. And social media is in the description. Click and subscribe and hit us up if you have any questions.
And remember, keep watching movies.